So today's episode, or rather tonight's episode of Legends of Tomorrow just finished, and I have to say it's okay, it's not bad by any means, but I kind of felt a little bored watching it. Like it didn't feel like a lot was going on. I mean, when it came to when it came to like kidnapping Vandal Savage's apprentice, I believe his name was you know, I forgot his. See, that's the thing. I felt bored during these scenes that went on with this main plot about kidnapping his apprentice. All I know is it starts with a P. It's Palemet. For you know what, fuck it. For the sake of this review, I'm just going to call him Palmolive after the Palmolive dishwashing liquid because that's all I can think of right now. So anyway, so they try to kidnap Palmolive, who is supposed to be this person that is responsible for creating this evil robot army for creating. At first, what we assumed was Palmer with Palmer Tech, and that Ray's Atom suits suddenly become autonomous. They start to, become AI, or they can kind of similar to Ultron a bit with the Ultron's robots. And so I thought, okay, this is fine. And and you would think that for an episode that's set in the future, that it would be exciting. It kind of, it's just okay. Um, but the thing that I always find is that it feels like in almost every single time period that the cast goes to, it feels like they never fix anything in the past or any time period they travel to. It seems like they either change, or by the time they leave, it feels like they solve either nothing at all or they make things worse. And it seems like in this case, after the end of tonight's episode, they definitely made things even worse. So instead of that virus that's supposed to happen like 5 years later, instead he just helped cause Vandal Savage. He just helped cause it to happen. Rip Hunter just manages to help it happen even sooner. And they went through this whole thing about whether it's right or wrong to kill a child, even though it's like he's going to be a dictator in the future. He's evil. They kept making jokes about calling him baby Hitler, and it's like, yeah, it's all intriguing stuff, but I can't describe how I felt about this episode. There was nothing about it that was blatantly terrible, despite what I'm saying about the team kind of, well, either not really solving things in all the different times they visit, and about Rip Hunter not being that great of a captain. But that's what I feel makes the show interesting. But at the same time, it felt like everything that happened in this episode just wasn't. It didn't really click for me. There were moments where we got to see Kendra in flashbacks from the 20s with Carter, and I thought, that was interesting. But if you notice, the son that they had in that episode, it was Aldous. The guy that was in the series premiere, that old professor that they save and then ends up dying. So I thought that was a cool reference to the past for earlier on in this season. And I don't know, nothing about this episode necessarily stood out to me as being mind blowing or anything of that sort. But the the one thing that's kind of funny though is whenever you saw Ray decide to when Ray thought that it was him and that he had a son that that helped make all the atom units autonomous, and then it turns out no, it was his brother that actually did it, and it felt kind of weird. It felt like that was just thrown in there just to prove that Ray doesn't really have an impact on the timeline, and he tried everything he can to make an impact, and then he just doesn't. So yeah, we never heard him say he had a brother before. I don't know if Ray Palmer has a brother in the comics, but yeah, that just felt kind of thrown in there, just to prove that he's the guy where no matter how hard he tries, he never makes an impact, even though we all want him to. There were the scenes with Heatwave were good. Yeah, those parts were good. And whenever we see Heatwave talk about, when we see him talk to Rip, and Rip tries to apologize to him, I thought those scenes were good. And then Sarah got to talk to him about killing the kid, and then, but then of course, Snart comes in, and Snart and Mick always try to. So they end up having that deal where they try to kill each other, and whoever ends up walking out is the winner. And then even at that point, at the end, Mick still can't seem to kill Leonard. So despite how all the hatred he has built up, he still can't manage to do that. So. And then he talks about how the Time Masters are now chasing him for not bringing in Snart, and now they're saying that the Time Masters, I believe, like the Time Master assassins, I forgot what. See, it's funny. You can tell how much I just felt very meh about this episode when you can tell that I'm having trouble remembering the details of exactly what happened. Like, wasn't good, wasn't bad. It just happened. That's how I felt about this episode. But next week, Jonah Hex is going to be on, and I cannot wait to see that. So whatever down the middle meh I felt about this episode, that's sure to be redeemed next week, because oh boy, we're going to go to the Wild West and meet Jonah Hex. That's got to be exciting. So anyways, yeah, let me know, what did you think about this episode, and I'll see you next week. Bye.